welcome to the Doc G Show, a radio show cluster. Without further ado, critics have said he has the face for radio and a voice for silent films. Your host, Ben Doc G Gordon.
And we are on the air. Welcome to the Doc G Show. I am your host, Doc G. With me in the co-pilot chair, the one, the only, Jake Papa J Bones.
That's
Parler.
Right. Yeah, man. Been too long. What'd you say? How long has it been?
It has been since August 24th, 2020. Jake.
Man.
Yeah.
That's like prime COVID time right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think school, I think life got a little bit too much for you then, Jake.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. Yeah.
I think that's what happened. It was a little bit too much, you know?
So true.
But listeners, if you're not aware, Jake has been on the show before. He has been on the show. He was we at one point in time, we had the great Dave Berlin on the Wednesday shows, and Papa J Bones Parler was on the Sunday shows. We were doing 2 shows a week, listeners.
Girl,
Can you believe it? And Jake was part of it. It was beautiful. I miss you, Jake.
I've missed it, dude. I'm glad you asked me to come back. Yeah.
Of course. Now, I got to ask, how's Glide?
Glide, we're still doing some shows. We're doing about 1 or 2 shows a month right now. It's definitely slowed down.
Listeners, if you don't know what Glide is, let me catch you up real quick. Glide is a fantastic Stone Temple Pilots cover band.
That's right.
That Jake plays bass in. I have seen them live.
That's right.
It was lovely. Very good show. And spot on with
Thanks,
the
man.
sound. Yeah.
You came to the show. We had to fly that drummer out last minute in Gainesville. We picked him up from the airport, and then 3 hours later played our first show with him. Yeah, you were there.
And he nailed it. I mean, for the most part, he nailed it. It was And
His name was
he was
Twig.
locked. He was locked. Twig was locked in.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he was before the show. He was listening to all the Stone Temple Pilot songs because I mean he had listened to them, but he hadn't zoned in, you know. And man, he got it. He got now. I will say, he didn't give the most Stone Temple Pilot vibes.
Sure. Yeah.
But he sounded. He sounded good.
He was a good time though, man. And then the next week he ended up getting COVID. So
sounds about right.
And then he came and played a show with us, and then we all got COVID.
I remember that. You did. You told me that. Yes.
Yeah. And then that was pretty much it.
Twig,
2 shows with Twig, and then we had to move on.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, Jake, I'm glad to hear. that Glide is still doing well, still living the dream. And
right.
I've got more good news. I've got great news. Now, this, by the way, listeners probably know this, but you may not be aware of this. I let them know this just a couple of weeks ago. I got an email, Jake, from the Illuminati.
Say what?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do tell. Tell.
They requested that we be a part of their group.
Okay.
That we consider membership, and I'm very excited. And
All
guess
right.
what? They've checked back in with me. Now, it's weird, Jake. In this second email, it's like the first one never happened. They introduce themselves again like it's a new conversation, which I don't get because they obviously know who I am. They're very excited about me becoming a member. Yeah. You know, they know that I'm already in talks with their organization. Regardless, I wanted to let you know, Jake. There's a weird thing. First of all, they went with all the text in bold. Not really sure what that was all about.
Like the email was in all.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Whole font, all bold. I mean,
like they were yelling at you.
I mean, I feel like capital is yelling. Bold is like.
Oh, gotcha.
Is just emphasis, you know? Like I'm not sure, but I will say it was a bold choice by them. Pun,
Yeah.
guys. Here's what they say. This is from the start. Greetings from the Illuminati World Elite Empire, of course. Are you a businessman / woman? Huh?
All inclusive.
Exactly. I like the inclusion. Plenty of lady Illuminati out there. This isn't just a good old boys club. This is ladies and men. Now, it says, are you a businessman or woman, politician, musician, student? Student? I don't know, Jake.
They're just covering all their bases right now.
Well, I saw student. I was like, we're letting in students. I mean, they better have won some, like greatest of student all time award or something. Like, just letting in any I didn't work my off to get into the Illuminati.
Yeah.
To have a club with the lacrosse team from Washington State. It's not. No. Come on. But anyways, back to the list. Businessman or woman, politician, musician, student, footballer. Footballer.
And that was interesting end right there.
Yeah. I find it nice that they included footballers.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing by the way that they said that, it's soccer players.
That's what I was thinking. But,
I would like to send an email back and ask if American footballers are allowed. They
would say, yeah, definitely.
Because I would like to invite Ryan Clark, former guest of the show and former American footballer, into our club.
Yeah.
So I just want to know if it's allowed or not. I mean, at one point he was a student, so I'm guessing he qualifies. I just want to make sure.
Based on that alone, yeah. Even if they don't take the footballer,
exactly.
American football, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Is there any group that we didn't list, Jake, that you would like to see represented?
Where would you fit? Businessman?
I think so. We can call the Doc G Show a thriving business.
Nope.
And by thriving, I mean it makes zero money, and I waste a lot on it. Yes! So I would put myself there. I was once a student, as you're aware.
Yeah.
I was once a musician too, a poor one, but I was a musician.
Nah, man, you were solid.
Don't do me any favors.
I was your bassist.
That's true.
We held down a nice little rhythm there for the gym staff.
Oh yeah. Well, real quick, they back to the email because I don't want to derail from this very important note here from the Illuminati. They once again tell us, Jake, and I'm guessing that anybody that is under the umbrella of the Doc G Show is invited in this email. So you're involved too. Don't worry.
Sweet.
But they let us know you can achieve your dreams by being a member of the great Illuminati empire. You earn yourself a lot of benefit with this. All of your dreams and heart desires, I don't think their English or AI translation work very well there, can be fully accomplished. That's what I'm looking for in life.
Yeah.
It's nice. My dreams and desires. It's pretty good. Now, a couple of things that are beneficial here, Jake, that they didn't have in their first email. Now, their first email, it was interesting because they had a very long email that they sent the email from, but then they told us to respond to a Gmail account. Interesting,
okay.
Right?
Yeah. This is getting interesting.
Yeah, they did us one better this time. Instead of a Gmail account, hold on to your butt here. They gave us the Illuminati recruitment at hotmail.com. Yeah, Jake. Can you believe it?
That sounds sus.
That's how historic this society is, man.
Yeah.
They've been doing it since Hotmail. Hotmail hasn't existed since 2013.
Man, you definitely went and looked that up once you.
I did. I did. I needed to know what time. I was like, Hotmail. I'm going to check this out. 2013.
Jeez. Yeah, they've been around, man.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Now, this is the most important thing, though. In the email, they have at the bottom a note section. And it says, note, some email providers incorrectly place official Illuminati messages in their spam/junk folder or promotion folder. Girl, come on. Jake, can you believe this happened to me? Their email went to the junk folder. Like this was some kind of junk. Can you believe that?
Yeah. There's no telling how many more are in there.
Yeah, I probably missed it for like 3 years or something like that.
I think you've been missing it since 2013.
Probably since Hotmail. You are correct, Jake. You are correct. Membership is definitely at the top of my list. We'll get right to it after we fire this show up. Jake, are you ready to fire this show up?
Let's fire this thing off.
All 3 engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and lift off.
Woo! Gosh, my goodness. Redemption show this week, Jake.
That's right.
Redemption show. Before we came on the air, I told you, at the start of 2024, I interviewed the great Kenny Wayne Shepherd. It was a great interview. Talked a lot about different topics. We covered all of his favorites, you know. We talked we talked cars. We talked music. And then, like the piece of that I am, I lost the SD card where I recorded the interview. Girl, come on. Lost forever, Jake.
Man, if you had told me when you lost it, I would have totally gone down to Hilton Head and I would have helped you look for that.
Yeah, I did look for it. As you know, you're familiar with my good friend Brandon. Brandon helped me look for it. We did no luck. No luck. You know, we had to cut our losses. But fear not, listeners. We have a new interview with Kenny. Woohoo! And it is a great interview. And not only that, but for the folks in the Jacksonville area, for the listeners that are here in the hometown, he's coming to St. Augustine in 2 weeks on October 18th for the Experience Hendrix Tour. Oh my goodness, it's going to be good. It is going to be good. And listeners, trust me, it's a good conversation. We talk, today we talk Italy. We talk Zakk Wylde. We talk workouts. He's been getting his workouts on, Jake.
Yeah.
He's getting his fitness going.
I'm a fan. I love him.
He's getting total fitness. He's all about progress. You know, he's not about perfection. That's what Kenny Wayne's about when he's in the gym.
Strive for perfection.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. He knows he's not going to get there, but he's going to try. He's going to try. But before we get to all of that, Jake, we need to start where we start. Do you remember where we start?
Birthday suits?
Correct.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Correct, Jake. We are gonna we're gonna do a little historical test, I think, today. This might be a little rough on you.
Jeez.
All right.
There's a couple that might be a little tough. This first one, we'll see. We'll see. Here we go. Born on October 2nd, 1869. In India. Our birthday suit wearer went to London to study law at Inner Temple and became a lawyer at the age of 22. He went to South Africa in 1893 to represent an Indian merchant in a case and ended up staying in South Africa for 21 years. He returned to India in 1915. He joined the Indian National Congress in 1921 and led a campaign for easing poverty, expanding women's rights, but at the top was to end colonial rule. India gained its independence in 1947. Sadly, only a few months later, our birthday suit wearer was killed by a Hindu nationalist. He is known as the father of the Indian nation. For his entire life, he practiced nonviolence. the art of nonviolence in all aspects of his life. He inspired Martin Luther King during the civil rights movement of 1960s. He inspired Nelson Mandela in South Africa. He was named the second most important person of the century in 1999 by Time magazine, only placing behind Albert Einstein, who was number one. Jeez. Name that birthday suit wearer.
I think I'm going to have to go with Gandhi on this one.
Nicely done, Jake. Well done. Gandhi is correct. Woo! I don't know. I'm afraid Mike's going to listen to the show and then act like he knew it was Gandhi before I ask him. But I don't know if Mike would have been able to get Gandhi.
I mean, so when you said lawyer, India, I was thinking that anyway. But
and then the nonviolence.
Yeah, and then the nonviolence. But I did not realize he was born. I didn't realize it was 1869 that he was born. I thought he was way more recent.
No. I mean, he had. I mean, even though he was assassinated, he had a pretty long life. I mean, he was 78 when he died. So, he got some years in there. Yeah, but I guess impact.
I guess his. Maybe I'm thinking he's more recent because of his legacy that he's had with Mandela and Martin Luther King, and
Yeah. He there at UNF on the campus of North Florida. There's a statue of Gandhi.
That's cool.
They got a statue of him walking, and every now and then when I'd walk through, I'd put a little hand on him. Just how you doing, hand. Yeah,
and he was also big into fitness and health, and he was always doing.
Big
fasting.
Yoga practice. Yeah. I mean, it went into his religious beliefs. That's sort of tied in there. Yeah. Very, very focused. Just a fantastic guy in that regard. Happy birthday to Gandhi. If he would have lived, he would be 155 right now. So I don't know if he'd make it to 155, but it would have been half of his life there. This would be his second half, right? Yeah. He went, oh man.
Who knows?
Right there. Anyways, Jake, are you ready? You want to rip some headlines?
Yeah, let's rip it.
It's now time for Rip from the Headlines.
Woo! Jake, I've got a headline from the British newspaper, The Times. So not the New York Times, but the Times. And this is the headline. What really happens inside Disneyland's most expensive club? Yeah. Jake, after hearing that headline, are you slightly concerned that Mickey Mouse is throwing Diddy-style parties?
Man.
Creepy stuff going in on there. Oh yeah,
definitely. That's definitely going down over there.
Yeah, too much body oil. Oh my gosh, there's baby oil going on all over the place. No, it's known as Club 33. That's what apparently this exclusive club is. It's you go to Disneyland, and it's basically like a place for rich people to get away from normal people. And have fancy food. It's apparently, I've never been to Disneyland. Have you ever been to Disneyland, Jake?
Disney World, but
Disney World, no Disneyland.
Yeah.
No La La Land. Okay. No
That's
Anaheim. Right. Well, apparently there is a New Orleans Square in Disneyland, and that's where Club 33 is located. And to be in this club, you've got to put down $60,000 and then $25,000 a year to keep it. Girl, come on. And you've got to get invited. There's like a wait list of like 20 years to get on this club.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a lot,
That's
right?
not worth it. Yeah. I mean, I'm speaking from a guy who makes that like maybe half that in a year, so like
here's some Club 33 members. Christina Aguilera, Elton John, Tom Hanks, Tiger Woods. This guy's dead now, but he apparently was a member. Michael Jackson, Katy Perry, all of these people, Club 33 members. And I got to be honest, even if I had Tiger Woods type money, I don't think I'd be interested in this club.
Nope.
You know?
Well, yeah.
I'm not interested in Disneyland enough, I guess. You know? I don't really care that much, you know?
So, I mean, has anything come out like what they do there? I mean, why is
it's just really fancy food. That's the main thing.
Okay.
Like, you just go in and they have really fancy food. There's some pictures that have been leaked out, and it's just like looks like a really fancy, nice dining room, and there's some club rooms and like a bar and stuff in there. Totally not worth it. Totally not. There's no, erotica that's going on. Huh? Just people having fancy meals. That's it. Jake, are you ready from a zinger from the folks at People Magazine?
Let's get it.
Here's the headline. Keith Urban, 4-time Grammy winner, reveals he completely failed music class in high school.
Word.
That's all right. I mean, Michael Jordan, didn't make his, was it middle school or JV basketball team?
Yeah.
There you go. It don't mean nothing.
Well, he didn't make the varsity team, had to play JV.
Okay.
But, I got to say, Jake, headlines like this annoy me. Because some numbnuts is going to see this and say, see, I know I can make it in music. Keith Urban did it. And, yeah, I mean, like, I'm sure Keith Urban failed music class. But it's not because he wasn't good at music. It's because he didn't give a about the class.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible that stuff, maybe he was so advanced at the time that maybe some of the stuff that they were going over, he was just like, it was kind of, he'd already mastered that and didn't really put in the effort, And
I mean, the big thing is who else failed at music class that this article doesn't mention? About 1 billion other people that aren't famous. That's the numbnuts category.
Yeah.
That's where they go. But,
dude, Keith Urban, I was actually watching him on YouTube the other day. He did a cover of an Ariana Grande song.
Woo, yeah. Oh, the one that he said was like heroin.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Oh, he can
shred.
Oh, he's crazy on the guitar, man.
Yeah.
Crazy. He was on Rob Lowe's podcast like a week ago or something like that. And he was talking about one of his new songs that he recorded. And he was telling Rob that he couldn't really play it live. And he was like, oh, why can't you? And he's like, well, it's 2 different guitar parts. And I recorded both of them. And so he played them both. And then he was like, so for me to play it, I would have to do both of them. And he was playing the one guitar part and then singing the other one as he was playing. He's like, then I'd have to sing on top of that. And I can't do that. I'm like, how the crap did you sing the guitar part while playing the other? That's insane, man.
Yeah.
Like, he's
talented. He's gifted.
Jake, I've got an eye-opener here from Billboard.com. Quote, Lance Bass says he overheard Diddy telling Justin Timberlake to bail on NSYNC. You need to drop these effers. End quote.
Man, I have not heard the name Lance Bass in like over 10 years. You got pretty
excited when you heard it, right?
Yeah. I sat up a little bit.
First, I gotta say, I don't think Diddy actually said effers. I think we went with the full.
Yeah. I mean, definitely.
I think so. Second, this was 2002, Lance. I'm pretty sure Diddy wasn't the only person telling Justin to leave NSYNC. Like, come on, man. Now, at the time, Jake, did you have an opinion? Or were you too young to have an opinion? Were you like, I don't care?
Dude, I used to love, I'm not even going to lie. I'm going to admit it on your podcast right now.
Here it comes.
I used to love NSYNC. I used to have a VHS.
There it is.
And I would wear that thing out. It was a live performance. They had
some tunes, man.
Yeah.
They had some tunes. I think my favorite actual NSYNC jam, Girlfriend. That was a jam right there. That was a jam. But the last thing that I got to say about this headline, it may feel the same to Lance, but I hate to tell him, like, what he's describing here doesn't really rise to the same seriousness as Diddy's trafficking and racketeering issues. I mean, It's sort of like an article coming out in 92 that says Jeffrey Dahmer once ate at Outback and didn't leave a tip.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm not too concerned about that. I think we'll let that slide. At least he wasn't eating his waiter. Like, we're fine with it. Like, just come on, man. He's got bigger fish to fry than telling Justin to leave NSYNC. Jake, got a headline from The Athletic. A little sports news here. Quote, Pistons owner Tom Gores agrees to buy 27% stake of the Chargers. End quote.
That's right.
Don't like it. Don't like it. Don't like it.
What are you talking about, Jake? Come on, man.
Dude, the Pistons have not been relevant for like 20 years.
No, that's what I'm telling. I'm telling Charger fans to get ready. Tom Gore is going to bring the winning culture to the Chargers. The same winning culture that has achieved the longest losing streak in NBA history.
That's right.
Yeah. That's a real story, listeners. The longest streak in NBA history. That guy owns the team. He did.
Man, I mean, I don't know how long he's owned the team, but the Pistons that used to be fun to watch, you know, they were the bad boys of the NBA, right?
Not anymore.
Yeah.
They're a sad, sad team, and he's going to do that to the Chargers, or at least 27% of the Chargers.
Yeah.
Not all of it. Jake, I've got a headline here from one of our faves here on the show. Delish.
Sweet.
Delish.
I like it already.
Oh, yeah. So, quote, this guy unearthed a Thanksgiving menu from 70 years ago. You won't believe the prices. End quote. You know what my quick answer to that one is, Jake?
No, what is it?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
I'll believe him.
I thought you were going to have like an actual number, like a guess.
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, of course I believe. It's called inflation.
Yeah.
In the article, they say that the total Thanksgiving meal was $2.25, which sounds insane, right, Jake? You're like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
But it's not too insane when you realize the average salary then was about $5,000. Now, can you believe it?
And you could buy a home for like
20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jake, I want an article that says this guy unearthed a Thanksgiving special from the Doc G show, and you won't believe they had Lewis Black on the show for Thanksgiving.
Say what?
Really?
Yeah. That happened last year. We had Lewis Black on the show. Yeah.
I've missed a lot in 4 years, dude.
You got to go back and listen. It was a good time. He called me and Mike two of the best journalists he had talked to. And dude. I was like, well, that's odd because I'm a professor and he's a comedian. So, oh, well, it was good. Either way works. Fine. Jake, I've got a troubling headline. This is a little concerning here. This is from USA Today. Quote, 180 plus people sick with gastrointestinal illness on Royal Caribbean cruise ship.
This is happening way too much. Like in the last few years, this has happened multiple times. Right?
Well, I was about to say, Jake, Royal Caribbean cruise worker saw this article and said, hey, that's better than our average. All right. Nice. Only 180? Last time it was 400. So we're getting better at this. No way would I go on a cruise. Are you a cruise man, Jake?
Oh, so have you never been on a cruise?
Not a single one.
Oh man.
Not a single. I'm not interested. It freaks me out, Jake.
I've been on like
multiple cruises.
Yeah, I've been on 3 before.
Oh.
And I've had a good time. I've been very lucky that nothing like this has ever happened. But I do remember, was it like 4? I can't remember how many years ago. I think it was a Carnival ship.
Yeah.
That they lost power, right? Do you see that one?
No.
Yeah. So they lost power and like people were having to go to the bathroom in a paper
bucket?
bag in a bucket and set it outside of their door every night.
Pass.
Yeah.
No. See, that's one of the things like that that I'm just not about, Jake. It's the main thing, being out of control. I don't like the fact that I can't like just basically emergency exit out of this thing.
Yeah.
You know, not a fan. Not a fan. Back to sports, Jake. Going back to sports. This is the sporting news. So from the sporting news, quote, Hardaway Sr. says Dallas Mavericks didn't have the dignity to tell my son why he was benched, end quote.
I don't think it comes down to that, right? I mean, a lot of teams they don't do best by their players, right? But I mean, you know, I don't know. That's just part of the NBA. That's just part of the Mavericks are a good organization, though.
Well, Jake, here's the thing. I'm guessing Tim Hardaway and Tim Hardaway Jr., having both been NBA players, what I'm getting ready to say is a very foreign concept to them. But I'm going to explain this. As a guy who was benched a lot during his basketball high school career, let me answer why he got benched. He was benched because someone was better than him.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm getting. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
The old politics of winning, you know, that's what got in there. You just got to take it and swallow it, Mr. Hardaway.
That's right.
That's what happened.
Is it Jason Kidd? Is he the head coach now?
I think, it went back to, it is Jason Kidd.
That's right.
Yeah, he's been there for for 3 years now.
Yeah. I mean,
it's been a while.
Yeah. A while. The thing is like, obviously it worked in their favor because, I mean, they were in the finals last year, right?
Mm-hmm. It was pretty good. Pretty good.
So true.
Jake, we are going to take a break. We are going to be right back, but we're going to hear from Kenny Wayne Shepherd. This is a classic right here. Slow Ride right here on the Doc G Show. And we are back here on the Doc G Show. Spinnaker Radio, WSKRLP 95.5 FM in Jacksonville, Florida.
That's right.
Since Mike is not here, Jake, I will do the honors. I will let the listeners know if you have not subscribed to the show, you need to do so. Just subscribe to the show. And if you can, 5-star. 5-star recommendation. Now, let me tell you what works like bacon grease in a hot griddle, because me and Jake were just talking about that. I'll tell you what works like bacon grease in a hot griddle. That is recommending the show to a friend.
That's a fact.
That's
easy to do.
Yeah. Oh, easy to do. And Jake, you know, when you get a referral, when somebody that you know just in passing is like, oh my God, you know, that Doc G Show, woo! So fun to listen to. I love that thing. They're going to check it out.
Yes!
They're going to look into it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if I go out and I tell somebody, hey, you should listen to my show, that's like me basically going up to them and being like, hey, you should get a rammed up your. They're not going to do it.
Nope.
That sounds horrible. Right?
Yeah.
You guys have got to do the legwork for me, listeners. You got to do the legwork. And when you do, we appreciate it. Jake, are you ready to hear our regular listeners?
Yeah, man. Always.
These, by the way, I don't think we had done this by the time you were on the show. We have now renamed these. These are not just the regular listeners. These are the 5-star listeners. Because we're grading the listeners, Jake.
Okay.
And we're grading them 5 stars because these are the cities that regularly listen.
That's right.
First on the list,
Shoutouts.
Piracai, Brazil, Jake. Piracai, Brazil. Hitting it up, man.
That's cool, man. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They're regular listeners. Shout out to Pirakai. San Diego, California. Also. Dublin, Ireland. Woo!
I feel like they've been on there for a while. I remember you bringing them up like 4 years ago.
They have been on there. Boardman, Oregon. Boardman, Oregon was on there when you were last on the show. Genoa, Italy, also on there. Long-time listeners. Richardson, Texas. I don't know if they make 4 years. I think they might, maybe. Barcelona, Spain, definitely. Winfield, West Virginia. That's Biloxi, Mississippi. Nope, they weren't on the list yet. Tulsa, Oklahoma. I think they might have been. Peoria, Illinois was. Katy, Texas. Nope, they weren't on there yet. Toms River, New Jersey. Also new. Olive Branch, Mississippi. Asheville, North Carolina. Listeners in Asheville, hope you're doing all right. Yeah. Looks rough out there. Does not look good, guys. Los Angeles, California. Shout out to those guys. Spartansburg, South Carolina. Shout out to the upstate there. Athens, Georgia. Shout out to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Chicago, Illinois, home of the J Chips. Missed out on that. We tried out some J Chips about 3 years ago, Jake. J's Chips are a local delicacy of a potato chip from Chicago. And let me tell you, delicious.
You can only get them in Chicago.
But you can get them anywhere now, thanks to the internet. But they started in Chicago. Yeah. They're a Midwest chip. If you go to the Midwest, they'll know what you're talking about when you say, I want some J's Chips. If you say that anywhere else, they're going to look at you confused. So there you go. Boynton, Virginia. Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Columbus, Ohio. Jacksonville, Florida. Columbia, South Carolina. Radford, Virginia. Gainesville, Florida. Frankfurt, Germany. Anoka, Minnesota. And last but not least, and one of the first regular listening cities, Ashburn, Virginia. There we go. That's the regulars, Jake.
Shout out.
Now, on to the 4-star listeners. These are the semi-regulars that we're hoping will get to that list of regulars, Jake. First off, New York, New York. There we go. We're looking for the 5 boroughs to make their mark, Jake. Next on the list, Wickham, Canada. I'm not too familiar with Wickham.
Nope.
But shout out to you guys. Falkenstein. Now, Falkenstein, Germany. 2 more weeks, Jake, and they'll be a regular. So you hear me, Falkenstein. Keep listening, guys. Keep on listening. You can be like your brothers in Frankfurt, Germany, who are already regulars. Charlotte, North Carolina. Shout out to the old Queen City there. Fremont, California, on the Bay. Sterling, Illinois. Denver, Colorado. Mountain View, California. Santa Cruz, California. We've been getting a lot from the old Bay Area, and I gotta say, shout out to the Bay Area, just in general. Thanks, Bay Area. We appreciate it. Because also Antioch, California. Antioch, California is also in the Bay Area, so shout out to you guys. Amersfoort, Netherlands. There we go. Amersfoort, Netherlands. That's the last one, Jake. Jake, we need to get to it. We need to waste no more time. We need to go talk to Kenny Wayne Shepherd. Listeners, we will be right back with none other than Kenny Wayne Shepherd right here on the Doc G Show.
The Doc G Show, because sometimes you need something playing in the background. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. on 99.5 FM, Spinnaker.
This is 95.5 Spinnaker Radio. WSKR-LP-FM, UNF Jacksonville.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are super happy to be welcoming a fantastic master of the six string. He'll be showing it off October 19th for the Experience Hendrix Tour in St. Augustine. His new album, Dirt on My Diamonds, Volume 2, just came out. Mr. Kenny Wayne Shepherd. Kenny, how are you, sir?
I'm good, man. That's the first time I've heard it said like that. There's a translation. Something gets lost in translation sometimes over in Europe with the different languages, and they'll call it "dirty on my diamonds." But it's the first time I heard "dirt on my shoulders." Which
apparently I went Jay-Z. Something just went in my head, and I was like, I gotta get this dirt off my shoulders. Okay, there we go. Well, you're busy, man. You got a lot of touring here for the next month.
Yeah, man, we're out on the road right now. We just finished up the Dirt on. I know it's a wordy title, but it's one of the songs. It's the opening track of the Volume 1 record, Dirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did the Dirt on My Diamonds tour in support of Volume 1 this year, and we wrapped that up as Volume 2 was getting ready to come out, which came out September 20th. So we finished that tour for this year, and then we jumped right on the Experience Hendrix Tour, which I'm on right now.
Yeah.
And it's going great, man. I mean, we kicked the tour off in Seattle, and it's, for those of you that may not know, it's put on by the Hendrix Estate. So the Experience Hendrix Company and Jimi Hendrix and all of those people who run that organization are the ones that put this tour on. And we've been doing it for many years now. We've had about a 5-year break, primarily due to COVID and everybody getting back to work and stuff. But prior to COVID, it was almost a biannual kind of thing. Every other year, we'd go out and do this tour. Incredible artists, amazing guitarists, amazing musicians, all paying tribute to the greatest guitar player of all time, playing Jimi Hendrix's music. And it's an incredible concert. So we started in Seattle, obviously where Jimi was from. And the coolest thing about that show was the actual guitar that Jimi Hendrix used at Woodstock, that white Stratocaster that he played the Star Spangled Banner and everything on. They brought that guitar out to the gig, and I played it on stage. And I had done that once before, like 14 years ago. Paul Allen from Microsoft, who co-founded Microsoft with Bill Gates, he's the guy that actually owns it. Guitar's on display. It was the EMP Museum. Now I think it's called Mopop in Seattle. But they flew the guitar to New York 14 years ago when we were playing the Beacon Theater there. And I played the guitar on the Jimmy Fallon show and later on at the Beacon Theater. And then I guess now they decided it'd be a cool opportunity to do it again. So they brought that Stratocaster, the actual one Hendrix played at Woodstock. And I got to play it on stage again. Some of the other artists got to play it as well. So that was a hell of a way to open up a tour for sure.
Yeah. I caught some of that, some of the Seattle show there just on YouTube. I was looking at some of the highlights, and I mean, it's like you said, you've got so many talented people. You got Eric Johnson, you got Kingfish, you got Taj Mahal, you got Zakk Wylde, Samantha Fish. Is there anybody you've been, like you said, you've been doing these for a while. I saw, I think the first one was at 2004 was the first one that you did.
Well, it actually goes beyond that. That was the first big one that we did in Seattle at the theater downtown. But the first unofficial one of these things was a few of us had gotten together at the Showbox, which I club in downtown Seattle. And I don't remember all the bands that were there. It wasn't a big deal. It was just like, hey man, let's get together, play some Hendrix, and celebrate Jimmy. And we did that. I think we did that twice in the Showbox, and then it just kind of went from there. And then we did the one in 2004, and they filmed that. And then it was like, well, let's try doing a mini tour of 3 shows. And then it went from 3 shows to a full-fledged tour. So we've been there from the very beginning for sure.
I was about to say, yeah.
Little thing, and now it's turned into this really big thing, which is incredible.
Yeah, well, what I love about it, watching it, it's like everybody, it's like 95% Hendrix but then you get this just little injection of whoever it is that's playing it, right? Like, it's not a lot because they're trying to honor Hendrix, obviously, but you can't help but just have a little bit of yourself. So you get all of that Jimi, but there's just a hint. Like, I was watching Zakk Wylde out there, and of course he's got that Zakk Wylde charm on it, and man, it's awesome.
Dude, Zakk kills it every night, bro. I mean, Zakk's got his thing. I've got my thing. Tosh has his thing. That's one of the great things about it. It's like you look at all these musicians, man, and everybody comes from something a little bit different. Sometimes drastically different backgrounds musically, but like common thread is that we were all influenced by Jimi and his music and his playing, and that just goes to show how far reaching his music and what he did, like his legacy is. And so it touches people from all walks of life, all races, all musical backgrounds. Everybody has like been influenced by Hendrix. But Zakk kills it, man. He's 100% Zakk, and he just gets out there and just destroys it every night. Yes. And everybody does it. That's the cool thing about this tour is like it's kind of like a family. It's kind of like a traveling family. And we got some new additions this year, like Kingfish and Samantha, Hallie Venable. And not everybody's on every show, but like it becomes this family environment, and there's no competition. Nobody's trying to show anybody up. Everybody's just there to like to respect Jimi and one another, and just enjoy everybody's musical talent, what they bring to the table. So it's a really great tour to be a part of, for sure.
What blows me away about Jimi is the fact that, like, first album came out in 1967 and he died in 1970. So you only get 3 years of music and 3 albums, really. And yet 54 years later, you guys have got all of these musical legends in your own right performing his music because of the impact. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's really remarkable, to be honest with you. Like, the small window of time that he was able to produce new and original music, and the impact that he had, and the imprint that he's left on music and rock and roll and blues and everything. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible, which is one of the reasons why, he's consistently rated as the greatest of all time. Yeah.
Well, I got to say, Zakk Wylde, props to him on singing too. I didn't see, I watched him do Manic Depression at the Seattle concert, and everybody knows he can shred, but then he was right on. He nailed the Jimi, the vocals perfectly. It was impressive. I liked it.
Yeah, Zakk's total package, man. He's the real deal.
Now here's the question about the total package. I've seen you before working out on social media there with your health coach, with Samantha Jackson. Have you ever got a workout in with that animal, Zakk Wylde?
No, we missed each other yesterday. I had finished my workout as he was coming in to do his. But I figure we probably have 2 different approaches, but I'm still doing it, man. I'm still on it. I'm feeling good. I'm healthy.
Nice, man.
I think I'm in the best shape of my life. So
I saw you getting it over the summer there. You had the videos there. That was consistent there.
Well, you got to stick with it. I mean, it's all about commitment. That's the main thing. And I'm a progress, not perfection kind of guy, if you know what I mean. So I don't necessarily do everything perfectly when it comes to my eating or my exercise routine. I might miss a day here and there. I might have an indulgence here or there. It's like, but I don't beat myself on it, and I stay. Majority of me stays committed to the overall plan and the results. But without consistency, it's never going to come out.
Very true. Very true. Well, now, before I want to talk about the new album, but before we get there, I got a couple of things. Over the summer, you had a lot of cool stuff go on. One, you got inducted into the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame. Yeah. Obviously, being a Louisiana man, that's got to mean a lot to you.
It does. It's like I don't know. It's like, on one hand, the Hall of Fame thing is awesome. Like, I'm and all that stuff. But then you look at like everybody. If you're a musician, it ultimately, the conversation comes down to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Not to make any of them less significant. I'm just saying that's the conversation that, that's the mainstream conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much of a home there is for artists like us in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, thank God they have a Blues Music Hall of Fame. Thank God that Louisiana has a State Music Hall of Fame to recognize artists that maybe get overlooked when it comes to the bigger events and the bigger buildings and the bigger award shows and things like that. So I appreciate that, but it's really great. I mean, to be recognized by, especially being from North Louisiana. I don't know if you know this, but like in Louisiana, there's like this imaginary line,
in
the state, and it's almost like if you're from north of Alexandria, to the people in South Louisiana, you may as well not even be from Louisiana. And so I'm from Shreveport. It doesn't get much further north than that. So, but I'm in the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame, so you can't tell me I'm not from Louisiana. So, it's good to be recognized by my people and my home state, which has an incredibly diverse and rich musical heritage. Probably one of the most, if not the most, in the entire country. And so to have that recognition, it means a lot to me for sure.
We've had a lot of good folks from Louisiana on the show. Mark Broussard, country singer Jordan Davis. Just had Jovan Webb, who was there on American Idol there. Great singer. Bunch of good singers and artists. Well, I also noticed over summer, got some much needed vacation time in Italy. Now, I'm guessing that wasn't your first trip to Italy.
No, my wife and I got engaged in Rome, 20 years ago.
Nice.
But we had not been back, she and I, since we got engaged. I've been back for touring.
Yeah.
But we've been wanting to take our kids over to Europe for a long time, and we had this opportunity to go over there with our family. And, my oldest child is about to be 17, and you just start seeing the window of opportunity getting smaller and smaller to be able to do these family trips where you can guarantee that every person in the family is going to attend. They get older, it's like, well, I'm doing this, mom and dad, I wish I could come, but I have this thing to do, or I have this at work, or I have this with my friends. And it doesn't work out. But like right now, we can still be like, everybody's going.
You're all forced. You're going.
Yeah. So we want to make memories. Like I've learned, man, like COVID was a big part of it, but I feel like we had a level of awareness before the COVID even. But like, it's about making memories with our kids that hopefully will last them a lifetime, because when we're gone, like that's all they'll have is their memories and of us, and I want to create as many of those as we possibly can for them.
Nice. Best spot, best highlight of Italy?
Well, I mean, every bit of that country is fascinating and it's incredible. I mean, I remember like Rome just blowing my mind 20 years ago. I was like, oh my gosh, like there's just so much to see, and the history. I mean, we don't have anything like that here. When you go over to Europe and you see these places, like these buildings that have been around forever, like, we just don't have that here in the US. We're too young of a country. But it's the first time going to Florence and Tuscany, and that was incredible. The Amalfi Coast, I'd never been down there. That was it. But Florence was pretty impressive. I'd never been to Florence before, and I really enjoyed the time that we had there. Sure.
Nice. Best food? Where was the best food?
Everywhere. I mean, across the board, I say Italy has probably the best produce, the best food consistency. Like you can go any place and order a meal and it's going to be fantastic. But, it's interesting though, like it's kind of the same menu a lot of times. Just like if you're getting traditional Italian food, it's like, well, here's a lot of different pasta dishes. One steak option, which is always the sliced steak. Really find chicken. It's really hard to find any kind of a chicken dish. You have like one, maybe two fish options, and that's kind of so. You when you go out because you're traveling, you're going out to eat all the time, and then that's pretty much the same options everywhere you go. After a while, you're like, man. I found an Indian restaurant, in Florence. I'm like, we got to get something like totally different. The incredible Indian restaurant, great.
I know. My brother's had trouble with that. Like whenever he goes to Germany, he over Germans there's way too much German food, and then eventually he's like trying to find the Italian spot or the French spot that he's like, there's too much. There's too much kraut. There's too much schnitzel.
Yeah, we did a tour once where over in Germany where every single day the catering was schnitzel for like 2.5 weeks. It was like, okay, dude, I'm schnitzeled out. Like what can we get? What else can we get?
Need some variation. Well, last time we talked on the show, you were about to get your SRT Demon 170.
Yeah.
And you got it. And man, that thing is impressive. Was it everything that you hoped and dreamed?
It is, man. That car and then some, because I don't remember when we had talked, if I was already aware of the jailbreak program, but
I don't think so. I don't think you were.
Right. So probably after we talked, that there was this secret jailbreak program for the Demon 170. They had jailbreak cars for all the Hellcats, where you could. The idea was that you could put together options that it normally wouldn't let you configure. So it's like any option is available. If you wanted some crazy color scheme and interior color that wouldn't work together, they would let you do it. So the jailbreak program for the Demon 170 really was just a paint color program.
Yeah.
It was guaranteed to be. Your car was guaranteed to be the only car painted in that color. And so I heard about the program and I was like, oh, dude, I got to do this. So invitation only. I think the final number was there was only 28 cars that were part of that program. Every one of those 28 cars is a one-of-one guaranteed vehicle to be the only one painted in that color. They sent out 40 different colors. That you could choose from. It was first come, first serve. So they shipped out these packages, but depending on where you lived, and I don't know if it's UPS or FedEx, whoever was delivering it, it's like whoever got their package first, picked their color and submitted it, then you're locked out. Nobody else can get that color.
Yeah.
So by the time I decided what color I wanted, it had already been chosen, so it wasn't available anymore. And I was like, I want to do any of these other colors. I mean, they're great, all very cool colors, but I don't know if I want any one of those colors bad enough, because you're paying a premium for the one of a kind paint job.
Yeah.
Then I actually got the opportunity to request a color that was not offered. I went for the Heritage Play, and I went with the Petty Blue, which was. Because I thought this is compelling. Like, this is a special order paint vehicle, right? And back in 1970, Petty Blue was a special order paint color.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of the standard colors that was available, but you could special order that color, and you would get a fender tag code 999, which would indicate that it was a special order paint color. And so I thought, Petty Blue has the racing heritage, although Petty wasn't necessarily a drag racer, but it's got this. The old school Mopar guys love Petty Blue. I mean, it's an awesome color. The race heritage is cool. And I don't know I think the last time they painted a car a Petty Blue at Dodge was probably 1972 or 1970. And they were calling it, back then they had called it Super Blue, but same color. So it hadn't. You couldn't even get this color on a Dodge vehicle in forever. So I was able to request that color. I got it approved, which I was totally psyched about. And then, I wanted to do something really different. I figured they're painting the whole car. And I asked if I could have these racing stripes.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to do, you could get Hellcats with racing stripes. So I didn't want to do the dual stripe on the Hellcat. I did not want this car to be confused with a regular Hellcat. So we did a different kind of a stripe where it has a really wide center stripe and then smaller stripes on either side of it, which is if you look up like a 1970 Plymouth GTX, it's that stripe. And so there was a little resistance. They were like, I don't know, we have every kind of stripe, and it never looked right. I'm like, I don't know, I think it's going to be cool. And they're like, well, they were kind of trying to talk me out of it without talking me out of it. And like, no, I think it's going to be awesome. So we did it, and it's incredible. So my car is the only one in petty blue, and it's the only one ever made with painted stripes on it.
It is nice, man. It is nice. And I got to say, I think one of my favorite things, the fact that you had the Jordan 5s in UNC blue when you went to go pick it up. Not the exact same as the petty blue, but very close. Very close.
I was trying to get ready for the, because nobody knew what color the car was going to be. So I popped up the picture of the light blue sneakers just to kind of they were blue and black sneakers, just to give people kind of an idea. I don't know if they realized what I was doing, but I was trying to hint towards what color the car was going to be and stuff.
How many times do you think you've taken it out since you've got it?
So the car came to my house, and then I took delivery of it. There's a video I shot, put up on YouTube the day I got the car. And then we shipped it to this guy, Dave Salvaggio's place in Milwaukee, and Dave makes a lot of the after purchase accessories for the Demon. So like you buy your car, and then there's a list of accessories that you can purchase for the car, but you have to own one of these cars to get them. Yeah. And he makes the carbon fiber rear seat delete panels and harness bar and a lot of those parts. So my car went to his shop. He outfitted my car with those parts. And then in preparation for this drag day that we were going to do. And so we're at an 8th Mile drag strip north of Nashville. And me and some other celebrity guys that we're all friends. We all got together and raced our cars all day at the 8th Mile drag strip north of Nashville. And then the car's been parked at my house since then. I haven't had a chance because I've been on the road since then. We did the family vacation, and then when I got home from vacation, we were back out on the road. So the car's kind of been sitting at home. I pulled it out right before this tour because I got this awesome car
cover. Yeah,
the Goodwill car cover, which that's part of one of the accessories that you can purchase after you take delivery of your car. And so I had to shoot that video, man, because I've been waiting to see that because they told me they were going to try and match like exactly what my car looks like with the stripes and everything. So it showed like the day before I was leaving, or actually the morning I was leaving for this tour. But I was like, bro, I got to bust this thing out. I got to do this video. I got to see if this thing really looks the way I thought it was going to look. And it was awesome.
It does. It looks, it's awesome. You put on the cover and you're like, oh man, it's the car. It's like a cartoon car of the car. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, let's talk the new album here. So, new album just came out, like you said, September 20th. You've been waiting on this release. This is the crazy part. Like, I don't think you've ever had to do this. You've had these songs for basically the same amount of time that you had the first album. What's it like having to, how's it feel to have to set on songs to wait to release them?
Well, it's fine. It's just trying to figure out which ones to put out first. That can sometimes be challenging. But at the end of the day, it's like I knew I had two albums, and it was just like, well, do we just release these completely separate like we would do normally, or do we try and do a different type of package that might be interesting? So we made them like companion pieces. So it's volume 1, volume 2. But we stagger the release instead of trying to make it a double album and put them both out at the same time. So it's just like, well, which one do you put out first? I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, well, they're all going to get put out there at some point. So it's not like, it's not hard. It's just a hard decision to make. It's just like, which one's the right one to lead with,
What like when you mentioned that as far as like the two different albums, I've heard you talk about that before, saying like, there was something a little bit different in the two groups of songs. What would you say, like, what made you sort of divide the two and say, okay, this is volume 2, this is volume 1?
Well, what happens is it's like as you're recording an album, I always write like way more songs than I need to make a record.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is you start recording all these songs, and then you go, oh man, I'm really feeling this song.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got one that you go, yes, this one is going on. Like, and then you get another one, you're like, I'm feeling that one too. And after you get about 3 songs, and you see a direction start to take place.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, okay, well, this album is headed in that direction. And so then you go, okay, well, what else completes that that direction for that album? And then the same thing happened with volume 2. So like, I started looking at all these songs as a whole, and I go, okay, well, I have 2 really compelling albums here.
Yeah.
And we released them completely separate, and nobody would even, think anything of it. We put one album out, and then a year and a half later put the other album out. It's like, okay, great. Or because they are connected, because they were all kind of written around the same time, and most of them were recorded around the same time. Maybe we put them out as companion pieces, and a volume 1, volume 2 situation, which keeps the fans engaged. It's like, for the first time ever, I'm putting 2 new studio records out in less than 12 months apart from one another.
Yeah.
And it's good. It keeps us out on the road, gives us new material to play. And I mean, we did the volume 1 tour this year, and volume 2 dropping on the 20th of September sets us up nicely for next year to go out and hit the road. So it's been great.
Yeah. Now most of the songs on both albums were sort of spawned out of that writing session at Fame, right?
Yes, pretty much. I mean, for the most part, there's a couple cover songs. There's one cover song on each record. But yeah, most of those songs were written down there, which is one of the reasons why I felt like they had this connection to one another. Although, I mean, it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon for me to write songs. Like I said, I'll write like 30 songs for a record. And so we'll put 10 songs or 8 songs or 12 songs or whatever on an album. So we have a lot left over, and those will find their way onto other albums in the future. But, I don't know. I just thought it would be a compelling package to do it this way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you mentioned it. You have you have cover on this album on volume 2. The cover's ZZ Top cover. She Loves My Automobile. Was there any, was that the go-to for ZZ Top, or were there other songs in contention that you were thinking about putting as far as the cover?
No, I mean, there's so many ZZ Top songs that I could cover, man. I love ZZ Top, and so many of their songs are great and would be perfect for us to do. That's just one of my favorites, because I always love, I'm a car guy. We talked about the car thing. I've always loved how Billy Gibbons incorporated his passion for cars into his music and did it in such a cool way that it never seemed cheesy. This is just another of those great examples of how he merged his 2 passions in a song, and it was totally awesome. I mean, it's like the lyrics are clever, the groove is an awesome up-tempo shuffle. I thought it was, and plus volume 1, we ended volume 1, the first record, with a blues song called Ease My Mind. So it's kind of somber back alley blues, probably the darkest song of both records. But it ends on that note. And so I felt, okay, we're going to end this one on an up note, on a high note, with up tempo energy, make you feel good song.
Nice. I mean, it's an awesome cover, and you're right. ZZ Top, they do it just right. They do it just right. With the question is, which automobile does your wife love the most? Which one of yours is she a literal fan of the most?
Well, I think it'd be either one of my demons, because when we did the track day back in June, she came out and she rode with me down the track several times. And so she got to experience drag racing from the passenger seat. Now she wants to do it herself. So it's like, it's almost like I got, you know, the 2018 Demon and the 2023 Demon, and it's, you know, which one is she going to claim for her own, you know? Because I have a feeling she'll be out the track pretty soon.
Well, I don't know if I could handle either one of those on the track. Honestly, they that power frightens me. I don't know. That's a lot. That is a lot on those cars.
It's a lot of fun. I can tell you that, man. If you never should at least do it once.
Okay, once I will do it once. Well, Kenny, I don't want to take up any more of your time, man. But thanks for coming on the show and talking with us today.
It's good. Always good to talk to you. Thanks very much.
For sure. Listeners, make sure you get Dirt on My Diamonds Volume 2 and check out Kenny on October 19th for Experience Hendrix Tour right here in St. Augustine at the St. Augustine Amphitheater. Right now, let's take a listen to She Loves My Automobile right here on the Doc G Show. Here on the Doc G Show, you just heard Kenny Wayne Shepherd. My goodness.
Say what?
Redemption, Jake. Redemption.
Yeah, you did really good.
I'm
glad you did that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, if I would have done that, it would have gone like that Chris Farley SNL.
You remember? You remember that time? You remember? That was awesome.
You remember that song you wrote?
That was awesome. Now, I will say, listeners, this is probably one of my biggest regrets of the show. But at one point in time, in the original interview, I asked him about writing Blue on Black. And he had this great story about when they wrote Blue on Black. It was him and two other folks. I'm not even going to try to retell it, because I'll screw it up. But that's one of those that really made me kick myself that I lost that first interview, man. Because I don't want to ask him again, you know, I don't want to But just a fantastic guy. 6 kids, Jake.
Wow.
6 kids. The oldest being 17, about to fly the nest. And then he went to Italy with his family over the summer there. I could see, he said he got tired of the food over there. And I feel like it would take me longer than 2 weeks, though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I feel like I could eat pasta for at least 7 months before I got tired of it. It's too good, man. It's too good. Too good. You can't get tired. Now, here's a big question. Would you be open to putting the foot down on the gas pedal of that Challenger, that Demon 170 there?
Yeah, I mean, I've always actually, that's kind of my dream car.
Say what?
I mean, he's actually got, I've always wanted a
He's
Hellcat.
got, you just wanted you just wanted sort of the regular. Yeah. Well, not the regular, but the special edition. Yeah.
And I mean, I've heard people who get those kinds of cars, or I've seen people driving them. And I think it might be a little too much power.
It's a lot of power. I told him I don't know if I can handle that power. That's a little scary for me. I get a little frightened on an e-bike. I don't know about 1,000 horsepower. That's a lot, man. But regardless, listeners, you got to get out there. Check out his new album. It's out now. I don't know if you heard that. I think you might have missed that, Jake. At the beginning, I screwed up on his introduction. That I felt stupid about that too. Instead, listeners, you just heard it. I said the album is Dirt on My Diamonds, Volume 2. And I was just in the flow of things, and I was like, dirt on my shoulders.
Girl, come on.
Jay-Z, dirt on my shoulders. Got to brush it off for me. And I was like, oh, but he was kind about it. He wasn't like, "You're a moron. I'm never doing this show again." So shout out to Kenny Wayne one more time. And if you get a chance, listeners, you need to go ahead and buy Dirt on My Diamonds Volume 2. It's a good one. It's a good one. Got the ZZ Top cover on there. Can't go wrong with a ZZ Top cover. Yeah.
Which one did you do?
She Loves My Automobile.
Oh man.
She Loves My Automobile. It's a jam.
ZZ Top, man.
They're the jam, man. They are the coolest. But we need to waste no more time, Jake. Thank you to Kenny Wayne Shepherd for coming on the show. We need to move on to the fastest growing segment in the world, the Mike C, a top 3. There we go.
All right.
Now, I told Jake about this top 3 right before we came on, and I was a little concerned he might not be able to come up with the top 3, but he said, "Don't worry, I've got it." So we are stealing this from Mike, since Mike couldn't come on the show. By the way, he's doing fancy movie things, listeners, in case you were wondering why Mike isn't on the show. He's doing fancy movie things. He's I didn't ask him what movie he's working on, but he's working on a movie. He'll be back next week. But regardless, our topic for this week was top 3 NFL jerseys of all time. Now, Jake, you're not aware, but we oftentimes we do an honorable mention. If you have any honorable mentions. Now, I've got a couple of honorable mentions. Obviously, since I sprung this on you, I'm not expecting you to have honorable mentions. So I'll give my first honorable mentions. If you think of any, you go ahead and throw them out. My first honorable mention, just a classic. I think it has to be there because of how much of a standard it is and how much of a fan of black I am. That would just be the Steelers' black uniforms.
Okay.
The black and yellow, it stands out. Yeah, I like it. They haven't changed it. It's just a straight up jersey. I'm a fan. Now, even more so, though, I think that I like even more Ravens all black jerseys.
Say what?
When they got the all blacks, they're a little scary, man.
Yeah.
They're moving out there. They got the black socks on. They got the black pants, the black helmet, and then just the accents of purple. It looks mean. And I like it. Now, are you thinking any honorable mentions, Jake?
Oh man. I mean, this is going to be kind of a tie for my third place. So it's like one of them would have to be honorable mention.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's going to be the give me one of them. Doesn't matter.
All right. So I was going to say like the Seahawks jersey from the Jim Horn, Steve Largent days.
Yeah. So what is that? That's like 80s, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that I love that jersey so much. Yeah.
It's got some overstated 80s-ness to it.
Yeah.
Some retro that I like.
Exactly.
I do.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. Okay. So here we go to the top 3. My number 3, I call it the Sassy Pirate. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey that they wore from 76 to 96. Yes. I love it, man.
Yeah.
It just Jake, it screams so much 70s to me.
Yeah.
Like that emblem, it's so 70s.
Yeah, I love it. Obviously I love the jersey because I bought it, but it's the creamsicle. I mean, and they were awful. Let's not forget that. They were terrible, but they had one of the coolest uniforms in the league. So
fun fact, for a little bit, Steve Spurrier was there. Steve Spurrier was part of that horribleness.
Their punter, I believe, right?
Well, he was backup quarterback. He played quarterback for a little bit. He was punter. Yeah. I love the Sassy Pirate. One of my favorites. What's your number 3 there, Jake?
So I'm probably going to go with the Kelly Green Eagles jersey.
Yeah, classic.
I love that green.
Classic.
And I actually have that jersey as well.
That's another you feel like, that's sort of like, I feel like with the Steelers, that's one you just see and you're like, Eagles, classic Eagles,
Like 7, I think that's like their 70s.
Yeah, 70s. Yeah. It might be 60s too, pretty sure.
Yeah.
But, okay, I like it. Number 2 for me, the Bengals 2022 alternate white jerseys.
Wow.
These are the ones that were all white, and then they've got the black stripes on the helmet.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Ooh, that was a clean look right there. It reminded me so much of of an all white Siberian tiger. Oh, that was good. That was surprisingly, because I'm a huge fan of the black jerseys. That was like the opposite, but to me it was still just as menacing. An all white out with the all white jerseys, man. Those were good. Huge fan. Number 2 for you, Jake.
Oh yeah. I mean, so the creamsicle from the Tampa Bay days is definitely like, I would have put that in my top 3.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna mix it up just so we give the listeners
Something
more.
different.
Okay.
I like it.
So I'm gonna go with the Houston Oilers.
Oh yeah.
Throwbacks, or like when they were the Houston Oilers,
The real
with,
deal. Yeah.
Right before they transitioned to Tennessee with Steve McNair.
Mm-hmm.
I love that jersey. I have that one as well. Yeah.
It's a good one, man. That one pops up a lot on top jerseys of all time.
Yeah.
I find it funny whenever Tennessee tries to they do that, not try, when they wear it, and I'm like, you guys don't have any oil.
Nope.
You're not oil. You're not oil finders.
Yeah.
This is Tennessee, man.
Correct.
Come on. But they get to do it because they're still the same organization, and people love those jerseys, man.
Yeah.
They don't care that they have no oil in the state of Tennessee. They're fine with it.
So true.
Okay. My number 1. If listeners were listening from like about a month ago, this is probably not a surprise to them. But number 1, Oakland Raiders black jersey.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Is that your number 1, Jake?
No, I mean, I had thought about that one.
Okay.
It's a classic. I mean, when I think of Raiders, I think of they're just
it's menacing, man.
Yeah.
It's menacing, but it's also clean. It's cool. I mean, there's a reason that NWA wanted to deck themselves out in Raiders gear. There's a reason that the Bad Boy Pistons wanted to wear Oakland Raiders stuff. It's because it looks intimidating. You got a pirate in silver, and then you've got all black. Oh, it's a hot look.
Yeah.
That is a hot look, man. And it's always been one of my, like, if I'm making up like a hypothetical team, that's my go-to look right there. It's my go-to look. All right. What's your number 1 there, Jake?
I'm gonna have to go with the purple People Eaters jersey, the Minnesota Vikings from that time frame right there.
I love it. It. Those, I mean, the purple's just always good.
Yeah.
I'm a purple fan, and I mean, just most of the Minnesota jerseys, it's also a classic look. I mean, you got to give it to the NFL and the fact that they don't vary the jerseys as much as the NBA. Not that I don't like the variation, because in the NBA, I love it. It's always exciting when they come out.
Yeah.
But like, that's the thing, is if you keep it the same for so long, they start to become iconic on their own. You're just like, my God, it's crazy. It's amazing. Nice list, Jake. That's
man.
Good. That's a good list.
I like that segment.
It's good stuff, man. It's a good, every week, top 3. So let's see. Let me think. What was our top 3 going to be? I don't think we had it listed out. Listeners, I'm going to find out from Mike. Don't worry. We'll get it settled out for next week. Okay. We have 2 more birthday suits, Jake. 2 more. Do you want the other historical figure, or do you want the musician first?
Give me the musician. I'm
okay. Pretty sure.
Right,
I'm like 99% on this one, because I'm gonna give you some songs.
Okay.
And if you don't know those songs, I will be literally flabbergasted.
So true.
I know you know the songs. I already don't have to. If you can't think of who sings them, I will be just blown away. Anyhow,
all right.
Born on October 2nd, 1951 in Wallsend, England, with the birth name of Gordon Matthew Thomas Sumner. Do you know from that? That's his birth name. He goes by a stage name now for basically the last 40 years, 50 years.
Word.
Anyways, our birthday suit wearer loved music, but didn't start out performing. He actually had multiple jobs before performing. He was a bus conductor, a building laborer, a tax officer, and a teacher before he started playing music full time. He joined Stuart Copeland and Andy Summers in 1977 and started the band The Police.
Yeah.
Jake's got it. Who is it?
Sting.
Sting is correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stuart Copeland, man. As soon as you said that,
You knew it.
yeah,
You knew it.
phenomenal drummer. Yeah.
Now, I'll go through the accolades really quick. The band had 5 super successful albums, winning 6 Grammys and selling millions of albums. They have the most played song in radio history with Every Breath You Take. They had other singles like Don't Stand So Close to Me, Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, King of Pain, Message in a Bottle, Next to You, Roxanne, Synchronicity. When they broke up in 1986, our birthday suit wearer went on to have an extremely successful solo career with songs like Fields of Gold, If I Ever Lose My Faith in You, Desert Rose. Combining his albums with the Police's albums, he sold over 100 million albums. Sting.
Yep.
There we go.
Yo, you mind if I drop another fun fact on your fans?
Drop
right
a knowledge bomb.
And this kind of ties back into a current event.
Okay.
P. Diddy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So.
Oh, you're gonna bring up how much he has to royalties.
Yeah, he has to pay him something like $5,000 a day to still sample that song and still play it.
My guess is he's not going to be able to pay that very soon. There.
Yeah, probably not. They probably, P. Diddy might be gone from the radio completely.
That's gonna be taken up if he's found guilty in those cases.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. I don't know. I feel like sometimes those numbers of how much he pays are overblown, but I know it's a ton.
Yeah,
regardless, it's a huge amount. It's such a crazy song too. Wrote that in the Caribbean. He wrote that on the desk. I actually had this. The lead singer of Carbon Leaf on the show just a couple of weeks ago. And we were actually talking about this. He wrote it on the desk of, who's the guy? Ian Fleming.
Oh,
Ian Fleming,
Mm-hmm.
in the Caribbean. He was staying in the house of Ian Fleming and wrote it on that desk. And I'm like, how cool is that? That is. There's some magic in that desk if you're writing Every Breath You Take on it. That's good stuff, man. But anyways, happy birthday to Sting, turning, let's see, what is Sting turning? 73. Wow.
Jeez.
70 looks amazing for 73.
He still looks great. Still sounds good too, man.
Give it up for Sting. My goodness. Okay, I don't know about this last one. This might be a tough one here, Jake.
All right. Let's get it.
Born on October 2nd, 1800. In Southampton County, Virginia. Our birthday suit wearer was born into slavery. Despite being a slave, our birthday suit wearer learned how to read and write at a young age. He was also known to be a very religious person from a young age, always reading the Bible. He would conduct religious services for other slaves, with a lot of the slaves calling him the prophet. He told others he had visions from God. He was convinced he was receiving messages from God to lead a slave rebellion. Then in 1831, after seeing a solar eclipse, he was certain he needed to lead a revolt. His rebellion lasted 4 days and resulted in the death of 55 white women and men. It was considered the most deadly slave revolt in the United States history. He was called a few days later and put on trial. He was found guilty and executed. But it was one of the many stones that led to the Civil War and the eventual emancipation of all slaves. Name that birthday suit wearer.
I have no clue.
I bet you it'll ring a bell when I say the name. It'll be like bing, and you'll be like, history class. I bet you. Nat Turner.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Nat Turner's rebellion. Yes, the most bloody rebellion in history. He would be 224 today if he were still living. So I don't, that'd be a world record. But regardless, Jake, pretty good for the first time back. 2 out of 3, and those were hard too. Like I've been throwing Mike some softballs recently. So, to get 2 out of 3 on Sting was pretty in your wheelhouse. Yeah, that was you had that one. But Gandhi, I think, was pretty good. I think it was pretty good. Anyways, Jake, how do you feel after finishing up the show here? What do you think?
Man, it's I can't believe it's already about done.
It's flown by, right?
Yeah. Hopefully, it's not another 4 years.
Don't worry.
My beard will be bigger. Hopefully by then. I've been working on it since the last time I was on the show.
Trying to get that Papa Parler beard. My God, your dad has such a beard.
You see my dad's beard?
My Lord, it is a beard. That beard puts my beard to shame.
Yeah. Yes! Yeah, dude. My dad, he's a huge Kenny Wayne Shepherd fan as well. So I told him I was going to be on this show. And
that's right.
There we go. There we go, man. But regardless, we need to wrap it up for this week. We've got some great guests coming on. Oh, my gosh. Eddie B, the comedian, is coming on. Can't wait to talk to Eddie B. Hopefully, these guys are getting really big on me, but hopefully we got Flip Turn coming. Can't wait to talk to the guys on Flip Turn. But we're going to wrap it up for now. I have been your host, Zakk G. With me, once again, Jake, Papa J Bones Parler.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Woo! And until next week, zip it up and zip it out.